Everyone! Time for the Get to the Point review.
Alright. Hey everybody. Welcome to the Get to the Point review podcast. I'm your host, Kelly McKinney of Hohenheim Productions.
And I'm your other host, Josh Gibson from Fourth Wall Players.
And we are coming hot in episode 10 with plays that have been adapted into films. And of course, we always start with a recent movie, as recent as we could get as far as plays slash related movies, of course, was Hamilton 2020.
We couldn't find anything more recent, but we didn't want to throw away our shot, so we went ahead with it.
Yeah, so we're taking a shot here. Okay, and this is how it's going. And so I think we both really enjoyed the opportunity to rewatch Hamilton.
Oh my, yeah. Oh,
it really is amazing.
I'm gonna watch it again as soon as this is done.
Maybe. I mean, like, you know, just so I can cry.
At the very least, listen to the soundtrack.
Just so I can cry. And you know, this is my feelings over Hamilton. Okay, really.
That's show or the man?
It's hard to separate the two. It really is. Because what I had to put here was, they made me like Hamilton, which is awful. This makes it difficult for me to still wish death on the man who was in the room where it happened.
I mean, he's already dead, so...
Yeah, but if we're going to like him, it may as well be with rap music. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My get-to-the-point review on Hamilton was 2.5 hours of pure adrenaline. This filmed play features half a dozen standout roles, all vying for the spot of Best Actor. My reaction after viewing, the world's turned upside down.
The world's turned upside down. Yeah, and it's just crazy. When the movie very first came out, it was... I couldn't believe how polarizing my Facebook feed was about the political undertones of the movie. But it's because the large majority of my friends that are political are from when I was in politics. So a lot of conspiracy theorists.
Right.
So they hated liking Alexander Hamilton as much as I did. You know, anyone who's responsible for the bank. Yeah.
I had a similar experience about 10 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago. I was younger, and I just had to come to terms with the fact that I now liked Leonardo Dicaprio.
Yeah. No, and I had to come to terms with that when I watched The Beach. When it first came out.
Mine was a little after that. I think mine was probably around The Departed area, maybe the Aviator, but
I mean, other than Titanic, The Beach was the first Leonardo DiCaprio film that I watched where I wished I was Leonardo DiCaprio. And that, I mean, I was a teenager when I saw it, so it's all hormones.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like,
obviously.
Oh God, yes. You know, and then tropical islands and everything else.
Yeah.
Wait, why Leonardo DiCaprio's not in Hamilton?
He's not. But
He's not.
I was just saying, I understand where you're coming from with the whole having to struggle with
Alexander.
Yes, with enjoying Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because I mean.
But it's better if you just accept it and just let it happen, because it's going to happen either way.
Despite whether or not you like his politics, you have to appreciate that he is the ultimate underdog and American.
Which is what America's about, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That's what I'm always told. I don't know how much I believe it today, but...
Well, and so, naturally, since we love this film and play so much, we tried to find a respectable critic who had a negative view on it.
Yeah.
Which was difficult. As close as we got was A.O. Scott by the New York Times, which was a wonderful review. But to summarize in a get-to-the-point review fashion, this review itself, I say, if you missed how inclusive this movie is, read the review. It's as close to a negative review, like I said, as we could get without going to Reddit, of course.
Right.
Because it touches on the fact that they make the woman, quote unquote, behind the scenes every bit as important in the story
stand out,
as the man. Yeah.
And he even mentions in the review that they have some of the better songs. And I agree. At least story-wise and emotionally. My get-to-the-point review on the review is great attention to character detail, but doesn't talk about Daveed Diggs crushing it nearly enough. And I mean, honestly, who does?
Yeah, who does?
I don't think you can talk too much about how amazing he is in that show.
No, gosh, they're
and
all so amazing.
This is something that, like, as a stage actor, and even professionally speaking, like, that when you play dual roles, it is real easy to shine in one and kind of be overshadowed in the other. I mean, Mulligan, the guy who plays Hercules Mulligan, his what does he play? James Madison is his other character.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. His James Madison does not pop out nearly as much as his Hercules Mulligan.
Right.
And that's not anything necessarily his fault. It is a hard thing to do, to bring the same energy and character to both roles. And I mean, they both were just, I thought they were flawless, and they were fun, and they were energetic, and I
also think of the precision and skill and talent it takes for Thomas Jefferson to Thomas Jefferson the way he did during that show.
Well, and that's the other impressive thing, because sometimes even if you do bring the same energy to both roles, they collide a little bit when you're switching from one character to another. And I felt like they were both, even though they were both high energy and high spirited, they had completely different personalities, and they were consistent. He did not It wasn't like he slipped into Jefferson while he was Lafayette or vice versa, and that's impressive. I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. It's very impressive,
especially in live theater.
You have one take.
Yeah.
One take.
Right.
That's it.
One shot. Don't throw it away.
Yeah. And so, well, naturally, as you can tell by our glowing review of Hamilton, it is one of our favorite plays, which is why it is not in our top 5, but why we continued on the favorite plays adapted into movies.
Right.
For our Get to the Point review, the main topic of today's episode.
Woo!
And I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with one that I am willing to bet well over half of the audience has not seen. At least. With The Sunset Limited from 2011. So, The Sunset Limited is written by Cormac McCarthy, same person who wrote The Road, No Country for Old Men, etc. He's an amazing author. He is my favorite author by far, and one of my favorite screenplay writers as well. And this is a chamber house drama. It's an endlessly entertaining delve into apologetics with 2 amazing actors all occurring in one room. And so we've got, if I want to say, Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay.
And Samuel L. Jackson. For, like I said, about a solid almost 2 hours.
Oh, awesome!
It's just continuous conversation. It is everything that's.
So that's something that like nerds like you and I are going to really enjoy. But
oh my gosh,
the mass public is just going to be like.
Again, this is the key thing to understand about everything that has to do with a play. Comes down to the dialogue.
And dialogue and character. Yeah.
Very oftentimes when you option a play, you cannot change a single word of dialogue, which is why stage direction. The way that the characters are interpreted and costuming, set design, it all becomes so important in a play because you are legally obliged to not change a word of that dialogue. So, because of that, it has to be excellent dialogue.
Right.
For the play medium. So, every single one of these, that's going to carry, is that strong dialogue, even if it's in musical form like Hamilton. So with The Sunset Limited, that's definitely my number 1 all-time favorite chamber house drama play into movie adaptations. Beautiful.
Right.
Josh?
Awesome. My first to get to the point review is Frost Nixon. Classic tale of corrupt politician being tricked into self-incriminating by an entertainment host. It's the supporting characters that really push it over the top, though. Sam Rockwell and Kevin Bacon each stand out on either side of the debate.
Sam Rockwell, I love everything he does. I was introduced to him as a child in Clown House.
Not TMNT too?
But see, you didn't know who he was then. I didn't know who he was then. I didn't know who he was then.
Same. I think my first was, the first time I was aware of Sam Rockwell was probably not till 2005 when he did Hitchhiker's Guide. I really liked it. I don't know. He did Hitchhiker's Guide, and I was like, oh, that's the guy from Galaxy Quest.
Right.
So technically, that was when he first stood out to me. So 99.
Right, and for me, without knowing who he was, I had quoted Sam Rockwell from Clown House.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My whole life.
Right.
My whole life, and vulnerable moment here. I wet the bed a lot as a kid, and that is precisely why my mom showed me that scary movie when I was a child. Was
to
because
make you wet the bed?
No, because Casey, the main character, wet the bed all the time. And in a horror movie, they're essentially still the hero by the end.
Right.
So the bedwetter.
So the bedwetter is
was
the hero.
Triumphant.
Representation
Came
matters.
over as representation matters. Hashtag bedwetters anonymous.
Normalize bedwetting. That's the hashtag.
Hashtag normalize bedwetting. Oh goodness.
My next Get to the Point review is on Glengarry Glen Ross. Alec Baldwin is in one scene in this film and easily gives the most memorable performance. Tale of a half dozen legends being forced to compete in a sales contest left me with one fundamental understanding. ABC. Always be closing.
Nice. Yeah, and I immediately, when I think of that movie, I associate it with CoffeeZilla. Shout out to CoffeeZilla's channel, The Drip, everything else, because he's used that clip a couple of times to be like, this is the sort of psychotic crap that MLMs push into you, and it's not too far from the truth. That's what's crazy about that main scene. So you gave 2, actually.
Yeah, that was you gave your second.
No, I didn't. Clownhouse isn't a play into.
Oh, I thought you were giving one. I'm sorry.
No, just as an example of same Rockwell. No, well, it's fine. It's
my bad, man.
Sorry,
you go.
I'm just letting you know.
I am sorry.
Bad. You go.
My apologies.
The floor is open.
I yield my time to you, sir.
My next one is actually one you introduced me to. 12 Angry Men, 1957.
I can't believe I didn't think about that.
I know, that's so great. That's so great that you didn't, and it's on my list and not yours. It's like this.
I will find a way to put it on another list in the future. I guarantee you.
Well, no movie or play will make you want to become a jury member more in this Chamber House drama than this Chamber House drama. And this is the 1957 version.
Of course.
That one's perfect. Like, why would you need to redo it?
I mean, really, a lot of the charm is, I get what they were going for, but a lot of the charm in the movie was because of the time period it took place and because of the limitations technologically or whatever that these people had, as opposed to, like, when they tried to update it, as like, oh, instead of a fan breaking, it was like the air conditioning was breaking. And they still reference, like, they still reference the baseball teams, but it's different.
Right. It becomes the fact that in the original, there's actually things that are debatable.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That where it's not simply a lack of evidence; it's a matter of perspective.
Right.
And what in the specific order in which things happen, it doesn't necessarily count.
Right.
Okay, I'll go ahead and give.
So you go ahead and do another one.
Number 3, yeah. Yes. So my number 3 would be Romeo and Juliet from 1996. Okay, and that's because we've got accurate, straight from the play dialogue, and Harold Perrineau in drag.
Okay, well,
what else do you need?
Okay? Granted.
But it definitely put this as the best screen adaptation of Romeo and Juliet in my book.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with the romantic elements with Leonardo DiCaprio, because I actually felt those were the driest parts of the film.
Yeah.
It is always when someone is giving dialogue directly from the play in the movie in the proper context, because they modernize it in just a way where if you've read it already, okay, then you can understand what's going on without you can see it. Whereas most people are reading it in a dry classroom, just going back and forth between people who have drawn parts unwillingly.
Sorry, I will say I thought John Leguizamo was probably one of the better role parts in that film.
He's one of my favorite actors of all time.
And he's so underrated.
He is so
because in all fairness, he does do a lot of really bad movies, but he's always doing challenging things.
And
that's what it is.
God bless Jon Favreau for saving that man's career. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just putting him on the right track. Like you're going to be in this movie with me. You're going to be in this movie with me.
Right.
I'm directing and writing this one. You should be in that.
Yeah.
Thank God, because we're really getting to see the best of him out of this. It's crazy.
Right. So my next
number 3.
Get to the point review. My number 3
yes,
is Little Shop of Horrors, and I know we've covered this before, but you can never speak too much about the amazingness of this show. What could be better than a musical about a man-eating plant from outer space? Fun, quirky, and campy, this movie is the epitome of a mean green mother.
And it really is so well rounded.
Yeah.
In the way that it does it, it's like that's
and it's simple, but it's simple like in a way that works.
Yeah,
it doesn't like a lot of other adaptations. Like I'd look like Into the Woods, Cats, Les Mis. Even though I enjoyed Les Mis and Into the Woods, I actually enjoyed those. But yeah, I know they're really convoluted, and they're trying so hard to turn the play into a movie instead of just filming a play. So.
Les Mis!
Yeah, I know, Les Mis.
Gosh.
One day more.
Oh, well, okay. Well, at least, okay. A Few Good Men would be my next one. It's number 4 on my list, 1992.
Okay.
Well, and it's because I didn't even realize it was based on a play until I went and seen the play just a year and a half ago. And I was like, oh, man, and the fact that it made me realize that the dialogue in it is definitely what makes it so entertaining to watch, because there's nothing about the dialogue that isn't energy charged, that isn't charged, and it's because of the writings of Aaron Sorkin, which is exactly what I said here, is that his aggressive dialogue meets top-notch acting in a courtroom drama that rivals any.
Okay. So, since we're there, I'm going to skip one because my last one, actually, was A Few Good Men. Let's get to the
no, well, but you should give yours right now.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. That's what I'm at. I'm skipping number 4 to do number 5. Okay. My get to the point review is, you can't handle this script. Not a thought anyone had about Jack Nicholson's portrayal of Army General on trial for unnecessarily tormenting cadets deemed weaker than the rest. Tom Cruise was in that movie?
I know.
He was so overshadowed by literally everyone in that film.
And he's still great.
Yeah, I know, yeah. It's not that he's bad necessarily, it's just...
No, but also...
He's Tom Cruise. And
because of the movie adaptation differs just a little from the film. I mean, from the play, okay? Since the movie differs just a little from the play, too, you've got... it's awful that I can't remember Tom Cruise's character's name in it. It's funny. But I feel like he is derailing the whole court proceeding in the movie, where everyone else is keeping it on track.
Right.
And that's not... It doesn't make him getting the truth out of him in the end a redeeming quality from how he derails and tries to overshadow his female colleague.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what's crazy to me about the movie version, is that in the play, you feel everybody's weight in it and their role. Whereas in the movie version feels so conflicting. I feel like it was added in there to add conflict because it was a movie.
Right.
You see?
Right.
And so that's
which is what I was talking about earlier with Little Shop, is sometimes they get way too up in their whatever, trying to be like, well, we've got to make this edgy and more film-like, and
right.
That works out sometimes, and sometimes it just doesn't. I'm sorry.
Right. When the play is better than the screen adaptation, I feel like the screen adaptation should match the play
at least.
And right now the first 3 do that for me, and it's because Romeo and Juliet, even though it's sort of a cringy movie. I'm not. When I've seen Romeo and Juliet live on stage, I'm not enthralled by it. Even then,
unpopular. I mean, it's not a great script, but I have seen it done well before.
I've seen it done well, right? And I still give the same amount of attention and passion goes into watching the movie as does watching the play. You know what I mean? I get excited.
I got you. No, I
equal amount to watching.
Yeah, I'm definitely not trying to argue your opinion.
And that's, out of everything on my list, that's where A Few Good Men falls short.
Right.
Is that the movie feels more movie than the play's good enough.
Like you said yourself, you couldn't tell it was based on a play.
Right.
That there tells the whole story.
Boom, man, wow. That's the Get to the Point review on my Get to the Point review from Josh. Dropping some knowledge. All right, and number 5, Josh.
You're first. You're
Mine first? Okay.
Because you're number 5, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
We're
both on 5. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead from 1990. Because this is another one that I didn't know was... this movie was introduced to me just a few years ago.
Yeah.
And when it was, they were like, oh yeah, it's based on a play and everything. So I knew at the same time that the movie... So Oldman and Roth as oblivious servants debating coin tosses just never gets old.
Yeah.
I just... It's one of those parody plays that I just think is so brilliant. You know what I mean? Because everyone... I feel like every niche film... anything that we follow nowadays essentially has its own fan theories or things that they would want. It's if you could do a spin-off series on one side character,
right?
That's it. This is the best one of all time. This is so great.
Second place is Rogue One.
Here's Rogue One. Yeah, second place is Rouge One. Ryan George. One. Yeah. Wow. In
my last Get to the Point review, wow, is A Streetcar Named Desire.
Oh.
Newcomer Marlon Brando shines in this portrayal of abusive husband Stanley Kowalski. This larger-than-life antagonist teaches Vivian Leigh to not always rely on the kindness of strangers.
I
know it's so cheesy, but
no, this is great. I love it. I just can't get the picture of. We've been watching a lot of Frasier, so I'm just thinking of the episode where Poppy is reviewing A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams and keeps calling him Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, good lord.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, just a little tidbit, like, Marlon Brando actually originated the play role too. That's how he got it in the movie, because that was his first film.
I didn't know that.
But he originated the play. Originated the play role. So that started that.
I feel.
And that was when method acting bust down the doors into Hollywood.
Right. Wow. Wow. Interesting.
Which I'm not necessarily happy about, but that's when it happened.
I feel terribly uncultured because I have not seen A Streetcar Named Desire.
It's a good movie.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
He yells Stella a lot.
And which is why in both Disaster Artist and in The Room that Stella is so monumental. Yeah, it's so great.
And that's like one of the one lines that he actually delivers well in The Room. Like, seriously.
In The Room, right.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa! Like, that was it.
Right.
The rest of it was just like poor. Like, just,
That is crazy.
So anyway.
So we have... Right now, our third part of the segment is in transition. We are currently releasing ourselves from the Get to the Point review on the Twitter, which will bring us directly to our plugs at the end. So we hope you have enjoyed this episode. And if geek is the new chic, shouldn't that flow into your coffee drinking game as well? The selection of vintage, geeky, and cheeky mugs can be found on eBay, fulfilling occasions from fool to cool. To see our selection of mugs, click on the link in the description below to aid in an expressive drinking experience.
And are you curious about the behind-the-scenes merch and movies that isn't on YouTube? Get exclusive access to movies, merch, and more through Patreon. Find Fourth Wall Players at patreon.com/fourthwallplayers. That's patreon.com/4thwallplayers. All one word.
And we will see you guys next week. But real quick, I just feel like we should reread these in our best 1920s voice. If geek is the new chic, shouldn't that flow into your coffee drinking game as well? The selection of vintage, geeky, and cheeky mugs can be found on eBay, fulfilling occasions from fool to cool. To see our selection of mugs, click on the link in the description below to aid in an expressive drinking experience.
And curious about the behind-the-scenes merch and movies that isn't on YouTube? Get exclusive access to the movies, merch, and more through Patreon. Find Fourth Wall Players at patreon.com/fourthwallplayers. That's patreon.com/4thwallplayers. All one word.
Right. And now that we're done playing around, that was fun, right? I thought so. I thought that would be fun. All right, we'll see you folks in 2 weeks. Be sure to check out the Get to the Point review website on WordPress. We have regular blog updates on there as well.
Yes, I work hard on those. Please
yes,
read
we
them.
do, and they're a lot of fun. They really
seriously,
are.
Leave comments. Like I want to start a dialogue between me and you guys.
We can argue. It's okay. We're all game for that.
I welcome it.
We welcome it.
At least send me a challenge.
Send me a challenge.
Get to the point.